So I'm Kevin Gangel. I'm a co-founder of Unstoppable Conversations. We've been doing it for 12 years. I would consider my life's work. We exist to cause leadership for a transformed world. We would say that is what our purpose is. And by a transformed world, we mean a world that works for everyone with no one and nothing left out. So that's a pretty big to-do list. We got a lot of work to do, obviously.
So, like any business development, there's a little bit of a dance that goes on, which you and I did for a little while, maybe 6 months, or I think something like that. What was it initially that intrigued you about Connex that you felt would provide that you would provide value for Unstoppable Conversations?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think really it was you and your approach and the communication. You had reached out to me, and I loved it. Was like really personal. You obviously kind of knew who I was already. You'd done your homework, and I could tell that I was getting communication from another human being, another business person. I didn't feel like there was some kind of a solicitation, or I was getting one of 100 emails. It was really a one-on-one, and I thought, wow, this is a person that I want to connect with. Regardless of whether I want that service or need that service, I didn't even know. But I thought, whatever it is that you're doing, and you and the company are doing, I want to find out about that. And everything just kind of came naturally from there. So it was a no-brainer to connect and get in conversation for me.
Well, and it didn't hurt that we're both from Kansas originally.
Exactly.
Now I'm kind of Canadian through my wife. So.
I know, right? We got that going on. Double connection. So it's
totally. Great. So then we onboarded. We worked on the positioning and the messaging. Maybe you can take a minute just to talk about that. How important that was, because like anything, we have to really understand you. You're in a space that the perception very commoditized, right? Yeah. Going through your program, which I am right now, understanding where you differentiate in the marketplace relative to traditional leadership development, right? So what was that exercise like for you?
That was really, really useful for us. And one of the things that we're doing, I kind of feel like we're going into version 3.0 of our company. There was the mom and pop stage, and then there's getting more sophisticated and a little bit bigger team. And then for us, we really started grappling with, are we articulating where we fit in our sector inside of management consulting? And one of the things we realized is we didn't differentiate our services very well between the consulting aspect, where we're promising a result and going after very specific deliverables, and our training aspect, which is more about building capacity. It might just be the pure human soft skills without a specific business objective. We'd always kind of done both, and we didn't kind of, even for ourselves, distinguish which was which. And we realized that was hurting us sometimes in the marketplace. We've been very referral-based, traditionally, very relationship-focused. It's mostly introductions. And then as we started to figure out, well, how do we expand our business faster? How do we get, pre-qualified conversations, connections? We needed that clarity. So one of the things that was really awesome for us about the onboarding process is that we're coming to you as experts in the human resources, industry. And we hadn't had them as a primary contact. They were always involved, but we hadn't specifically sold to human resources. They would come in afterwards, after we talked to the CEO or the COO. So to have somebody who gets us and who gets an industry that we're starting to, we want to interface with in a different way, it's just incredibly valuable. And then you walked us through a list of questions, and you were able to show us back what we said in a way that it speaks to HR professionals. And I think you did a better job, you and your team, than we could have at that point in time. And it's very rare for us to work with any kind of a partner or any type of, communications or, channel sales partner and have them be able to say back to us what we do better than we do.
Yeah, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
Walking through it, it's not easy, right? So it's very educational by nature, and that's where its origins came out of education, didn't it? And so so being able to articulate that, you really have to have that consultative approach. Now, we both start off like anything in a relationship with the best of intention and super excited to start working with you, and relationships sometimes go through bumps and bruises, and it's always, how do you navigate through those? And unfortunately, we had a little bit of a bumpy start, and maybe you can talk to, how we worked through that together.
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't anything dramatic. Our first meetings got scheduled. We're excited about it. My team's excited about it. Connex is not a mystery to them, but they haven't been, talking to you and going through the onboarding process. And I'm sharing with everybody in this first client and the write-up, they're all excited. And then the client canceled, which is not a big deal, but we're used to having the direct relationship. And the client kind of disappeared with no communication. And it was like, well, do we talk to them? Do they talk to us? And then there was just whatever period of time where we didn't know if something was happening or not happening. But what was great about it is because, I know you and other people on the team already, was very easy and natural for us to go, hey, how does this work? If this was my client, I'd be doing X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And I would be, kind of demanding, some communication from them. So because we didn't know how you work or what your systems were, it felt like a little bit of a void in terms of the silence. But the moment that I reached out, the response was immediate, it was appropriate. You're responsible for everything you could possibly be responsible for. So there was zero friction in communicating with Connex. And that's what's important, because you're our ambassador, you're our guide to this sector and to all of your members.
Yeah. And that relational component is the most important. Right.
Absolutely.
So we each have our talent, skills, but if those are disconnected relative to us being able to communicate, in your words, authentically with integrity, right? And acknowledging if you're out of integrity, right? Which we all do from time to time, right? So it's but how you bounce back. So let's talk about the bounce back. So now you've been able to engage some of your first conversations. How are those going? Really,
really good. I mean, we're a relationship-based company. The process that we do in training and consulting is it's intense, it's personal. We get to know clients. We talk about anything you could possibly imagine, at different points in the engagement. And so for us to have a vetted relationship and to be introduced to somebody who's looking for someone like us, and I mean that independent of the product or service specifically, but are they our kind of people and are we their kind of people?
Right.
That's what matters to me, because the relationship is going to be long-term if it's going to be a valuable one. I'm less interested in whether we're doing something immediately than whether we can provide value long-term. So coming to the conference for the first time, again, very excited, want to meet the other partners, want to meet the members. And I think I had 5 meetings yesterday. And all 5 of them were having a follow-up of some kind. The conversation is continuing. So 100% in terms of the introductions, the matchmaking, and knowing who we should be talking to. So I'm really, really impressed with all that. I'd met kind of 3 people probably in kind of any kind of substantive conversation, and getting to meet the rest of the Connex team is just super consistent. Everybody on the team is great. They're good at what they do. They're personal. They're good communicators. So there's like zero gap anywhere I've got a touch point with Connex. And, I think I probably expected that, but I didn't stop to think and wonder that just happened. So I think it's really impressive that the brand is alive and the relationship stays natural no matter who I'm talking to about what.